Good morning and welcome to the little apartment on the prairie. Today I want to talk about some preps that you probably haven't thought of, but that you should probably have. This is kind of going beyond the you need 3 days of food and water. I'm assuming that, well, if you don't have food and water and basic over-the-counter, a first aid kit and stuff like that, do that first. You need that more than you need any of these things, but these are things for people who are preparing for a disaster and you've got the basics already and you're ready to look kind of beyond the basics and make sure you've got everything you need. So one of the things, if you're having a disaster, there are 5 different things. And the first thing is, if you're having a disaster of any length, is some pest control. And that might include mouse traps as well as some sort of bug spray or like ant traps, roach traps, things like that. The last thing you are going to want in a disaster is to find your house overrun with critters. And if it's something like flooding, that might drive a lot of critters indoors that normally, whiskers lay down, that normally are happy being outdoors. And if, there's all kinds of situations that may lead to, even if it's just that the power is out for a long time. And so you've got windows open instead of having your air conditioning on. If you've got more windows open, you may have more bugs finding their way inside. So that seemed like that was something that I hadn't thought of till I heard this suggestion recently. And I thought, yeah, that's a really good idea. And another one that's kind of related is bug spray for yourself, which I usually have around here anyway because I go camping and I go hiking and I forage for stuff and I try to remember to put bug spray on then. But if something would happen where you'd need to be outdoors, if you would need to evacuate your home, something like that, you're going to want bug spray. Something that's, not real likely to happen, but if you had to bug out and run from the zombies and live in the woods, I'm kidding about the zombies, but, you're going to want the bug spray. Number 3 is a way to wash your clothes. And I recently saw a video where someone suggested you have a washboard so you could wash your clothes. And I thought, what he's really saying is that you need a way to wash your clothes, and I don't want to wash mine on a washboard. But I have this portable washing machine that you power it with a foot pedal. It's not like pedaling a bike. It's like one pedal that you pump with your foot. And I have to switch legs back and forth because my legs get tired. I have a video. I'll put a link down in the description to a video about that washing machine. I really like it. I don't want to use it to do my laundry all the time, but it would be great on a long camping trip. I used it for a little while last year when the washing machines at my apartment complex were all broken, rather than drive to a laundromat. So they also have washing machines, like small portable washing machines that you turn with the hand crank. So the important thing, the important thing is to know how you're going to wash your clothes and how you're going to dry them. And, that would include if you don't have electricity, but also think about if you don't have running water, where are you going to get the water to wash your clothes? I have water that's stored, but it's just like enough water for drinking or cooking, not enough water for washing clothes. If I knew that we were likely to experience flooding or something that would cause the water to be shut off, I would fill up all the containers in my house, including my bathtub, with water before that happened. But if I didn't get a chance to do that, there's a creek near my house that I could walk to get water, but it's down kind of a steep bank, and it'd be kind of difficult getting, hauling buckets of water up from the creek. But I could, and I could walk there, and I have a cart with wheels that I could take to carry the containers of water back home. What would be easier if I had access to my car, or anybody's car, would be there's a lake a few miles away, and it would be easier to go to the lake and fill up containers of water and then drive back home. So I know how I would wash my clothes, and I would need to strain that water from the lake. Yes, I know I love you too, Whiskers, because it might have dirt or debris in it. And if the electricity was out, I would heat water for washing clothes over a fire outside, and then I wouldn't have to carry the big buckets of water or other containers of water up the stairs to my second floor apartment, because I could just do the wash outside, at least as long as the weather was warm enough. In winter, I'm not going to want to do wash outside. But there's a laundry room downstairs in my apartment building that I could do laundry in. So make sure you have a way to wash your clothes and think through all those things. Like, but am I going to need warm water? If we don't have electricity, how will I heat the water? Where will I get the water? Think through all that stuff. Number 4 is a needle and thread. You're likely during a disaster of any length of time, and I mean that could be a flood or a hurricane or something where things are bad for just a couple weeks. It doesn't mean it's like, a months long apocalypse, but a disaster of a week or two. If there's flooding, if you're having to evacuate a home, if you're evacuating from a fire, you may not be able to take a lot of clothing with you. And if clothes gets damaged, you're going to want to be able to mend them. You don't have to know a lot about sewing to mend your clothes, but if you don't know how to sew like a rip in clothing, learn to do that. Get some scrap fabric and cut a rip in it and practice sewing it shut. And if you're just planning to do this in an emergency where there's no other alternative than to mend an article of clothing yourself, it doesn't even have to look good. But you have to know how to do it and know how to put a button back on your clothes, for sure. And then the 5th thing that I think I've mentioned this before, but it's really important, is a backup pair of eyeglasses. What I do is whenever I buy new glasses is I save my previous pair for a backup. At this point, I've got several backup pairs. I keep one in my car. I keep one in my home. The reason I have them in multiple places is because I can see very little without my glasses. And so if I were camping or just on a hike, if I were just on a walk in the woods, if I were anywhere, if I were in a car accident and my glasses broke, I wouldn't be able to get back home because I couldn't see well enough to drive. I couldn't see well enough to do anything. And so I keep a backup pair of glasses in my car. I make sure I have backup glasses when I go camping or when I travel anywhere. I have them in my home too. If something happens to my glasses, I need new glasses right away. And I also have to know where they are because I can't see well enough to look for them. So that's one thing that I really have to be organized about and know where they are. If you don't have a pair of backup glasses right now and you want to get one, if you can't afford to go buy a new pair of glasses at the moment, depending on how bad your eyes are, you might find a pair of reading glasses that you can get like at the drugstore. May not be your exact prescription, but may be good enough for an emergency. But they may not be. They wouldn't be for me. You can't get glasses as strong as mine over the counter for sure. But make sure you have a backup pair of glasses available for an emergency. And if you wear contacts, you should still have a backup pair of glasses in case something happens to your contacts. Or, if you get like pink eye or something, they tell you not to wear your contacts till your eye heals up. So even if you have contacts, you should still have a pair of backup glasses. Let me know what things you think are really important to have, especially the things that people are less likely to think of. And let me know what your plan is for washing your clothes in an emergency. On top of this, I want to just make a couple quick announcements. One is I've got a cookbook now available. It's the Little House on the Prairie cookbook. It's available on Amazon. I'm going to put a link in the description. You can check it out if you're interested. It's got a lot of the bread and cookie recipes that I use regularly, but also a couple jelly recipes, a whole variety of things. Also, I am having an auction the 1st of August to raise money for my new service dog, and that's on Facebook, and I'm going to put a link to that in the description. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and everybody have a great day.